From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, practice observations, some bowl talk, possibly schedule talk, and maybe a little bit of a look at Syracuse. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida, cptallybar.com. That is the website. I hope you were out there last night having fun at trivia night, everybody. Shaking hands with Corey Clark, buying him drinks, bringing him Mios. I don't know what kind of gifts our guy Corey likes to be brought to him at Corner Pocket, but hopefully you brought those to him directly to his table.
Well,
You can hang out there.
Stephanie's birthday, so I hope you brought Stephanie the gifts.
Well, that too. How'd it go? Go good? Good birthday? Success?
Yeah, sure, man. You know, we do what we do. We do what we do around here. We do around here.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com is the website. Pull out that phone, pull out that camera app, take a photo of that QR code. Enjoy. Go right to the website. Hang out there. Don't forget, Thursday, bingo if you missed out. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to our podcast. Please hit the one on the right. If you're on an Apple device, you'll type in Wake Up Warchant. You'll see two. Hit the one on the right. Subscribe to our website, too. $10 for an entire year of access. Recruiting news, Corey's columns, Iris 321, Gene Williams War Rooms, Tom Lang observations. All this, just the tip of the iceberg. An entire year of it for only $10. What are you waiting for? Brad on YouTube, Corey. Guys, forget the personal stuff, what you ate, who you date. Get to the stuff on FSU football.
Okay.
Aggressive, Brad. Aggressive. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to Florida State football.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it for Brad.
Oh, Corey's so angry right now. I don't have to look at him on his. I wish I had him on a Zoom right now. Yeah, doesn't work that way. Welcome on to the Wake Up Warchant. So what do you think about practice on Tuesday, Corey?
Yeah, man, it was great. It's great. Look, they're out there wearing helmets and pads, popping the pads around. I only got to stay there for about an hour because I had a dentist. Sorry, Brad. Going to get personal here for a second. But I had a dentist appointment. Had my first filling ever in my life for a cavity. So I had to go take care of that.
Not that bad, right? Not that bad of an experience.
No, but it's like, here's the deal, though, Aslan. It's a temporary one because they're not sure if I'm going to need a root canal.
Oh.
So they're going to give me this for 2 months, make sure everything's okay and I don't feel any more pain or anything, and then they'll give me a permanent one. So that's where I'm at now. So I missed, I don't know, man, I probably missed like the final 40 minutes of practice, 30 minutes of practice. But, overall it was, looked like a normal Tuesday practice to me. Norvell seemed pleased enough, I guess.
Yeah. And of that 30 minutes, only probably about 20 of it is still good on good stuff. When they do go back inside the IPF, which I do kind of wonder why they don't just kind of stick inside the IPF all week long since they're going to be playing indoors on that kind of surface. But I guess at this point, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're just kind of clicking on all cylinders on both sides of the football. But the stuff they went in when they go back inside, it's mostly they'll do some good on good 7-on-7, then they'll break out and do more scout looks, which is like, I leave at that point. I'm like, all right, especially when it's an away game because they'll just play that white noise music. It just blares. It's like a psyop again, just like I can't deal with all this. But I thought, first off, we both kind of pointed out, we're talking about it live when we're watching it. Shout out to the DBs. One-on-ones is not a fun, enviable job for a defensive back, especially when guys are doing things like running quick slants. Like that's just like, come on, man. You can't run a quick slant on a one-on-one drill. That's not fair. It's almost like cherry picking. Sam McCall made a real good pass breakup on a slant route to Deuce Spann. Deuce Spann had maybe about half a stride on him. Sam McCall reached inside, knocked it away. Legit PBU. That was nice to see. And he was obviously at practice participating. No orange jersey, no black scout team jersey. He was out there kind of business as usual, which, does that say anything about Mike? I asked Mike about that after practice, and he gave a good answer, and then he kind of got a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm like, hey, it's fine, man. Hey, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, Mike. I don't know how to kind of unpack that, but he mentioned like this. I get upset, man. It's like if I did everything, if I reacted in everything I'm doing in my life with like my first gut kind of reaction, I'd have a lot more challenges in my life. So I'm guessing he and Sam got to talk, and he even said that to a point I could understand Sam's his viewpoint, his vantage on things. He's got this thing kind of rolling along right now. He doesn't need anybody to make his job any more difficult. And if you're going to go on social media and say you're leaving, which he didn't say anything bad about the program, but I don't need that right now, Sam. I'm trying to recruit at a high level, keep winning, finish the schedule out. We can get 10 wins. I don't know what I like what it says about him, but I can't articulate what it says about the head coach when he's able to kind of let something like that, roll off of his back. What do you think about that, Corey?
Yeah, I don't know that it's rolled off his back. I think there's probably, that's going to stick around for a while, clearly, if Sam McCall sticks around. Like, if McCall's gone in 3 weeks, who cares? Let him just be out there at practice. I wouldn't, as long as he's not a distraction on the field and as long as he's a part of the team when he's out there, but we just don't know anything that went on behind the scenes. We don't know what he said to the rest of the cornerbacks in the room. We don't know what he said to Fuller or Woodson or Norvell. But the fact of the matter is, right now, he's a Florida State football player. He's not suspended. He's not kicked off the team, nor should he be necessarily. You just, like you said, you'd rather him not hit the send button, but he did. But I don't think that's suspension worthy or even like public punishment worthy. Like there might be some things behind the scenes that happen for a miscue like that. But yeah, man, I think, look, he's got to coach 85 guys this year, and then he's also got to coach 85 next year and the year after that and the year after that. I don't know that you want to get a reputation of, as soon as one guy makes you mad, even if it's just for 4 minutes because he's 18 or 19 and loses his cool and loses emotions, that he's done to you forever. I don't know. That's the way you want to run a program. It might be the way I run a program, but I'm not a leader of men. Clearly, I'm a solo act. He's trying to lead young men, and you
got Brady. You're leading Brady into the wild.
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. So yeah, I think that's what that says to me, is that he's willing to give him a second chance if it even requires that kind of verbiage. I mean, again, it was just a social media post that was there for 5 minutes. Not a great look, but certainly not on the level of like the Marvin Wilson stuff, or to that matter, the DJ Matthews and who's our guy that's at Arkansas? Warren Thompson. Yeah, those were different, and you could clearly tell that Mike Norvell was not happy with either of those individuals for those tweets that August of 2020. But I think this is different, and I also think you got to speak to your team, and I'm sure McCall has friends. I'm sure there's many of those guys that are on that roster that know exactly what position Sam McCall is in. They were there themselves. They might still be there. They understand the frustration. So for him to fly off like that, post something, and then his head coach to be a complete jackhole about it and not let him back on the field or not let him practice or make him wear the scout team jersey or make him just do gassers all day in front of the media to try to like embarrass him to show how tough you are as a coach, that would probably rub those guys the wrong way. So as far as I know, it's like over and dealt with. And we'll see the Sunday after the Florida game if Sam McCall is still a part of the program or not.
I thought the defense, again, those one-on-ones, the DBs were quite – I mean, golly, was it like 10 reps almost? They seemed to win every single one of them. And then when they moved back into the IPF, I thought the defense also played quite well. There was one bust, Sam McCall actually, of all people, where Malik McClain caught a deep ball. I don't know if it was Jordan or Tate that threw it, but looking at the way the defensive backs played early on in that one-on-one, that was a pretty encouraging thing to see. And I just wonder at this point, Corey, I don't know if we're getting too far ahead of ourselves here. Florida, we'll see how that goes, but we feel good about the Syracuse game. Still no word on whether it'll be Garrett Schrader or Carlos Del Rio. Apparently, I mean, good gosh. Babers hasn't clarified what it is. People are looking to see if it's
what it is. They don't even know what injury it is. They don't know if it's concussion or something, a lower leg injury. They don't know.
Right. He was seen limping after the Clemson game, and then he might have taken a hit to the head against Notre Dame. He did say he suffered an owie, as one of the guys on the Syracuse beat actually quoted. That was a quote that came from him. And also it's an injury that we're sensitive to. So it's like, all right, well, if it's an owie, that's like, all right, I sprained my ankle, but sensitive to in this day and age, you'd think would be something like a concussion. But we'll see how that goes as more news trickles out from Syracuse.
Well, and he even said, like, he keeps getting asked about it all the time, and he clearly is not going to answer it. And he even said on Monday when he was asked about it, maybe it was Saturday, it was after the game, because Schrader warmed up.
Yes.
And then the reporter asked him, how close were you to going with Schrader? Was it and he's basically like, yeah, the doctors told me he couldn't go. And do you expect him to be ready for this week or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I don't want to give I'm not going to give the opponents an advantage. Something to that effect. He said in his post-game press conference on Saturday. And then on Monday, it was, just more of the same. He just won't specify what it is. And nobody seems to know, but it's odd that he warmed up I think he cut. So he played, we thought maybe he got a little banged up in the Clemson game.
Right.
But then he played the Notre Dame game.
First half.
But then there was no real moment where it looked like, oh, there's where the injury happened. Yeah. But then he didn't play the rest of the half.
Yeah, Baber said that he thought he didn't have the tools to help them win that game against Notre Dame at that point. So that's why.
Yeah, man. That could be that he's seeing stars, or it could be that his ankle's all busted. Mm-hmm. Who the heck knows? And then this past game, they're at Pitt. He warms up. Then they say no, he can't go, and then he's in street clothes. So it's just an odd thing. And here's the thing, folks. Schrader's a nice quarterback. He's certainly better than the guy they got. He should not be good enough to beat this Florida State team. I just don't think he's that good enough. I think Syracuse has come back to reality. I think if you look at some of those wins, like, say, Purdue, a close win over Purdue who's not any good, and you just start looking at that schedule that Syracuse has played and who they've actually beaten, their most impressive showing by far is the loss to Clemson. There's no real impressive W's on that schedule. They've now lost 3 in a row. They got boat raced by Notre Dame, who apparently has turned it around. Looked horrible against Pitt on offense with a backup quarterback, clearly, but looked horrible. And Sean Tucker's not getting the ball a lot. They're not stopping the run very well these last couple of games, which has nothing to do with your quarterback. So yeah, I think you've got a chance, a good chance, if you play well, to win comfortably. This isn't a great Syracuse team by any means, and for the third game in a row, you don't know which quarterback you're going to be playing.
Well, they did stomp out Louisville in the opener, but that was a long time ago. Louisville, I think On3 releases a power rankings every week of teams in the conference. I think Louisville's right behind Florida State. They got Florida State 3. I think North Carolina.
I think
NC
1, State's
Clemson
4.
2.
I think NC State's 4 and Louisville's 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've got North Carolina 1, Clemson 2, Florida State 3, NC State 4, Louisville 5. They did beat NC State, Syracuse 24-9, but that was without Devin Leary and MJ Morris. That's when they decided to keep rolling with that second string guy. So
in that what would Florida State have beaten that NC State team if they'd have played them in Doak with that quarterback? I can't even remember his name. I'm sorry, buddy. I know you transferred from Charleston Southern.
Jack. His first name's Jack, I think, but that's all I got. Sorry.
I mean, I feel like Florida State would have beaten that NC State team at
Jack
home.
Chambers.
There you go. By 30 points. Just because they would have worn them down. But not that the defense would have given up a ton of yards. It's just the offense would have kept getting off the field over and over and over. Like, Jack Chambers came into the game when it was a game. And he didn't do anything special. He got he achieved 5 first downs, and then, Robo Leg made all those kicks for him. But he didn't do anything special. And in a game and an environment on the road, if he gets down 17-3, I think it becomes 31-3 real quick. Because then they feel like, okay, we have to start throwing. We got to do some things out of his comfort zone, and it could have gotten ugly. The point being, the win over Louisville to start the season, that is a good win. I should take that back. That was a very good win. An impressive win because of the score. But, it's also a different team now. Yeah. And it's the ebbs and flows of a college football season. Like, Syracuse is in a 3-game losing streak. It does not mean you're guaranteed to beat this team. It does not. I think their record is – they're probably right around. I just don't think their 6-3 is equal to Florida State's 6-3. I think they've had the benefit of an easier schedule, and I think if Florida State had played their schedule, 7-2 or 8-1.
Yeah, they ain't got to win over number 10 LSU.
Yep.
Are they higher than number 10 now? We're
recording
recording this before the playoff.
Yeah, the heck, they're probably 2, man. They're probably no. I saw on ESPN on Monday night that they have, if they win out, they have a 52% chance of making the playoff.
And I saw a tease when they're like, "Is there still hope for an SEC for the SEC to get 3 teams to the playoff?" And they were showing B-roll and they showed LSU play. And I'm like, this is going to be really interesting for Florida State fans that despise the SEC because, your your win over LSU is going to be like magnified and scrutinized. But I don't know, maybe they'll downplay it. But that's the thing. But if you're going to put LSU in there, you have to give credit to Florida State. You can't call that a bad loss because it's still 2 losses. You'd have to be like, well, listen, look how great this Florida State team is. Yeah. And they played them in week 1 without a warm-up, and they were maybe a made extra point away from going overtime and winning that football game. But still, I can't imagine 2-loss team getting.
If they beat Georgia,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like you could certainly make the argument because who else are you going to put in? I wouldn't put them in there. Because
I ain't putting 1-loss Clemson over them. I'd put 2-loss LSU ahead of 1-loss Clemson. Sorry, ACC loyalist. I would.
I don't know, man. They had one common opponent, right? One team lost to them, one team beat them. I don't know.
Yeah,
Clemson certainly looked better than LSU. I know. Clemson won on the road at Florida State. Yeah. LSU got them in a neutral site in their home state. If you're just judging on those factors, but yeah, their wins are better because they get to beat SEC teams. And so their wins are always magnified. And then their loss to Tennessee, 41-9. It's like, that didn't happen. Yeah. Who cares? It's that's a great SEC school. What are you going to do? That happens. But I think I would put, depending on how the game goes, if they're both undefeated, I think even if LSU were to beat Georgia, I would still go. So Georgia finished with 1 loss. Tennessee finishes with 1 loss. Ohio State finishes with 0 losses. Michigan finishes with 1 loss. That would be my 4 teams.
Who are your 4 teams there then? Georgia with
Ohio
1
State,
loss?
Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Tennessee. Even if LSU wins the SEC, I don't care. They lost twice. And they lost at home by 30 points.
Yeah. Could you imagine if you're Tennessee and you're left at home and LSU goes ahead of you?
That's what I'm saying. How could that ever happen? How could that happen? No. You played them. You have a better record and you played. So that's the argument, is that LSU won't get in over Tennessee. LSU would get in over the loser of Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah. I went back and was looking at the schedule from 2000 because, I don't know, I guess it was a blurry time for me there, freshman year of college, stand up.
Yep.
I always thought Florida State benefited off the timing of the loss. I thought Miami ended up losing to Washington after they had beaten Florida State. And that's how Florida State caught them. Like the whole Notre Dame 93 thing where it's like, all right, you lost head-to-head, but you lost first. So you profited off of that. But no, Miami lost week 2, week 3 to Washington, and then beat Florida State, and then played pretty good the rest of the year. But Florida State lapped them because they smashed Clemson and smashed Florida in those 2 quality
They got the benefit
dubs.
of those 2 big wins, and the Miami was still in the Big East. And also, back then it wasn't the pollsters, though. That was the computers that had that.
Right.
That had that formula, whatever that nonsense was. It really did help Florida State that Washington finished 11-1 that year too. Yeah. So Miami fans arguing, well, how are we left out of behind Florida State when we beat them? And it's like, well, yeah, but then why are you ahead of Washington?
Right.
Because y'all have the same record, and Washington beat you. Yeah. So that cyclical argument didn't work. Miami fans didn't have a leg to stand on because they didn't deserve to be in over Washington. By their way of thinking, you know what I mean? Well, we won the head-to-head. We should be in over Florida State. Okay, well, then Washington should be in ahead of you. So that's just how it worked out, but who cares? Who cares? Josh Heupel, the great athletic Josh Heupel, won a national championship at quarterback that day. Man, that's crazy. I'm not one to body shame someone at all.
I love new Corey Clark. I love reinvented.
I know. I'm
Clark.
invigorate. But what's going on there, man? That guy was a Heisman hopeful and a national championship quarterback not that long ago. Yeah. So I don't know.
Long hours in the office, man. Long hours.
I guess,
in the office.
Yep. Eating donuts and just his whole. And he's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't on Saturday though, but he's a great coach. But it's like he doesn't look. Does he look like a guy that used to be a quarterback? I don't know. I mean, Jimbo was a quarterback in '88. You know what I mean? I get it. Heupel was a quarterback this century.
Keep going. I don't want to stop.
No, I'm done. Because Winky still looks like Winky, right?
Yeah, Winky,
he still looks like he could go out there and fling it around a little bit.
Yeah, Winky. Yeah, Winky was never chiseled, so he's got that little new dad weight on him kind of thing. But it happens to us. It happens to all of us. Just trying to fight Father Time. Father Time always winning. We're always trying to win. as much as you guys do when you pick your winners over at mybookie.ag. Get paid for all these great picks you talk to your friends about on your group chats. This team's going to win. I bet you they're going to win. And they end up winning. Get money for it. Go to mybookie.ag. Use the promo code WARCHANT. Then your first deposit will be matched instantly, dollar for dollar, up to $1,000. You can bet on the NFL. You can bet on college football, which we all love. And then also the money bag game. The money bag game, spin the wheel, make a bet on some props. You get your odds multiplied for some huge, epic payouts all over at mybookie.ag when you use the promo code WARCHAMP. Corey, it is Wednesday. Time for us to continue our head-to-head battle here, which you're currently up 4-2. I am 3-3 on the season. We do 3 picks every Wednesday. I did a little bit of research on this one because I was going to pull the trigger on Nebraska covering against Michigan, but apparently it's probably going to be Chubba Purdy playing again, and I don't know how I feel about Chubba Purdy.
He won that. He's still going to be the. I thought he got benched in that game.
Well, the other guy I don't think did all that great either. So,
oh boy,
I mean, it could be. I'm just saying, whatever. Either his fingers on the nuclear button, or he's one step away from the nuclear suitcase. So, and he hasn't done all that great. Everybody who has done great is our guy LaDamian Webb for South Alabama. I'm going back to the well on my Jags. They are giving 16.5 at home against Texas State. Texas State, the wheels are coming off. Jake Spavital might be dead man walking, so I'm going to go ahead and pick the South Alabama Jaguars, giving 16.5. Huge points. Aslan, what are you doing? You're crazy. Also, Clemson giving 7 at home to Louisville. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to call it get right, but I think Clemson will cover. I can see them winning by 8 points. Maybe they go to Kate Klubnik. Maybe starts lighting it up. And then, things happen there. And how about an over? You can also bet on over-unders, everybody. 65.5 with Oklahoma and West Virginia. Big 12 shootout. I'll go with the over on that one. So those are my 3 picks. Corey, what you got for us?
Yeah, I keep looking at this line and I don't understand it. It's LSU Arkansas. I know the game is at Arkansas, but it's a noon game, which actually means it's 11 a.m. there. So it's not like it's going to be a rowdy, rambunctious, lubed up crowd. They just lost at home to Liberty. LSU has something real to play for. I think they're coming into their own. I think they're starting to have a special season or feel like they're having a special season, and they're only giving up 3. It just doesn't compute with me. It doesn't compute with me so much that I feel dumb about picking it, but I'm going to. I'm going to. I'm not going to let Vegas and all those. I'm not going to let them scare me away. So I'm taking LSU -3, and then I'm going with what I went with last week, Aslan. I don't believe in Alabama.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, man, I don't believe in Alabama. And they're on the road again, and they're favored by double digits again against your boy Lane Kiffin. Mm-hmm. And I just don't get it. I don't get them giving 11.5 on the road. Every game they played on the road this year, they beat Texas by like a point.
Yeah.
They lost to Tennessee by a field goal. And then they lose to LSU by a point. Like, all these games are coming down to the final play. They're not going on the road and dominating these teams, and I don't think their defense is great, and I think Ole Miss will run on them. So I think Alabama will win the game, but I'll take Ole Miss plus 11.5. Give it. Hey, man, I might not even need all 11. And then let's go to. I wanted to do an ACC one. Now Miami and Georgia Tech, just for the fun of it, man, is a pick'em, which is crazy. But who could pick either one of those teams? So I'm staying away from that one, but I really do want to pick Georgia Tech because I just think Miami's just not going to score at all, and maybe that kid for Georgia Tech will make some plays at quarterback. But it was the Wake Forest North Carolina game.
Okay.
Wake Forest is at home. Okay. They're giving 3.5, and I just think North Carolina has been winning on some smoke and mirrors. Not smoke and mirrors. Their offense is very good, but they're due to lose one of these games. They don't play a lot. They don't blow out a lot of teams. They barely beat that Miami team down in South Florida, and there was nobody there for that game, and they barely won that game. They have struggled to put teams away, and I think Wake, after having played so poorly this past week, last 2 weeks, right? They lost to Louisville and NC State. Yeah. They're back home. Hartman is a good player who's mad probably. I bet he's practicing angry. I like Sam Hartman to have a bounce-back game, and I like them to beat North Carolina by, more than 4 points. There we go. So those are my 3.
Make your picks over at mybookie.ag, promo code WARCHANT. Meant to ask this earlier, Core, but it's good. Everything worked out, like the flow of our show. Didn't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We're just looking at the schedule, and, we got this dub. But it feels like, they're kind of this inevitability that they're going to really close out the season strong, go beyond the 8 wins that we have. So what is the one unit? What's the one segment? Don't say offense, defense. Give me like a position group here. Like, what's the one position group that you're hoping to see some strides for? Maybe needs to make some strides here in these last 3 regular season games, last 3, to make you feel good about where they'll be next year, perhaps.
Oh, I didn't know you were going that route.
Or whatever route you want to take it, Corey.
No, that's good. That's good. I guess, man, defensive line.
Okay.
Because, we were talking about it on headlines. Like, somebody asked this, like, just prediction, yes or no, think quick reaction about all these guys staying or going.
Yeah.
And I think all 3 of us thought that Lovett and Verse would leave. They both could come back, but we think they both leave. We have to see some other guys emerge from that defensive line and not just be stopgaps, but like real play. I want to see Malcolm Ray take a step. I want to see Joshua Farmer take a step. I know he's a redshirt freshman, but he's played a lot of football now.
Yeah.
And, he's certainly not embarrassing himself, but he's not standing out a lot either, which he's a redshirt freshman defensive tackle. I get it. They don't. But wouldn't it be nice to see him start making plays in backfields these last 3 games? Wouldn't that be a nice precursor to maybe what's to come? Patrick Payton, I want to see that continue to develop because there is a chance, man, that kid is special. Like, it's not normal for someone to play not as many reps as as fewer reps as he's plays and always seem to make 1 or 2 plays a game. Like a strip sack, that shit. But they're all, a batted pass on a screen. Like, he makes these plays that just he's a football player. And he seems so instinctual, too. He's got to get bigger, stronger. We get that. But, man, he seems to have a lot of stuff to him. I want to see that develop over the last 3. So I would say defensive line because I think that's where you're probably going to be hit the most from departures. You're already losing Robert Cooper for sure. You might probably be losing Fabian Lovett and Jared Verse. So let's see some of these young guys step up where we know they can be counted on next year, and then also the portal will help too.
All right. I thought maybe you'd go secondary.
It's up there. That was number 2. That was number 2 on the list.
Okay. Yeah, because, you could say Fabian probably, maybe. But I think Jamie, I don't know, that feels all but certain he's probably gone. Or is that being
I think so too. I think that's because I think he's a guy that's going to make a roster and play in the league for 8 to 10 years. He just strikes me as that guy.
You said that about Rashad too. We all thought that.
I know.
Rashad, though. That's fair.
I know. I don't know what. I just don't get it.
None
with
of us
Rashad.
know. We need a 30
just
for 30
doesn't
on
make
just
sense.
that. That's incredible.
But Jamie, even just if it's special teams, Jamie Robinson will find a way to be on an NFL team. I think for a good long while. So he needs to go ahead and get that clock started. Is probably what's in his mind. But I don't know what his draft prognosis would be, but I would think somebody would draft him somewhere. He's a football player, man. He's good. He's going to be all ACC, I would imagine, 2 years in a row now. So there's really nothing left for him to do at this level. So he's got to go. He's not going to get taller. So whatever strikes are against him as far as a NFL prospect, they're going to be against him again next year. So why not just go start your journey and get on a team and start making some money and get to that second contract. So yeah, Jamie Robinson I get. I do like Shaheem Brown though. Mm-hmm. And I like that this is where programs grow, right, Aslan? It's the stuff that we saw in the 90s is Shaheem Brown doesn't start. Shaheem Brown is still just a redshirt freshman. But Shaheem Brown is now a name among Florida State fans, and he is almost a proven commodity in the sense that next year, if and when Jamie is gone, you're plugging 38 in the defensive backfield, and you feel pretty good about it, right? He's gotten enough play, enough reps, he's made enough plays that you feel pretty good about what you got out of Shaheem Brown. So that's cool, but I would like to see more development from him. Yeah. So I guess those are my – and Azarie Thomas, let's see if he can build on that interception.
Greedy Vance as well, too. I think, we need to see Greedy – we really need to see a step out of Greedy here so that hopefully he'll push, because Renardo Green's another guy that could possibly leave, and I think he's champing at the bit to leave. I don't know why I say it's chomping. It's always been chomping.
It's spelled. I think it's spelled champing though.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
But I think he's a father, so sometimes you want to start giving your children a better life, and maybe the NIL won't be as good as what he thinks in the NFL draft. But those cornerbacks, I liked what I saw Tuesday. Again, it was one period throughout an entire 2-hour practice, but it sure would be nice to see Azaria build some confidence, as you said, build off that interception out against Miami. Same thing with Greedy as well. Because if Renard does return, which I think would be more than likely, you want some other options here. Maybe someone can push Kevin Noles at the slot cornerback. Maybe somebody else.
I think that's Greedy Vance. I think Greedy Vance is doing that. In fact, I wrote it's on the website. But against Georgia Tech, so in the LSU game, Greedy Vance played 19% of the plays. Against Louisville, it was 20. No, it was 13% against LSU. It was 20 against Louisville. These last 2 weeks against Georgia Tech, he played 62% of the defensive snaps, and then against Miami, in the plays that mattered before they started bringing in third teamers, he played over 50% of the snaps at that slot corner. That he is challenging Kevin Noles. He's on the field now as much as Noles is. It would appear he's taken a step. It seems. So that's good to have. You have him coming back. You have Noles coming back. Dare I say, Aslan? Dare I say that in the part of practice that I saw on Tuesday, Duke Cooper kind of looked like Duke Cooper again.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. He was running with the dude, broke up the pass. That was nice to see. Good
competed.
Yes.
Yeah, competed, was running stride for stride with someone, didn't just get – it would look like him. And he actually played a good bit in the Miami game. Not that quarterback could take advantage of anything that was available anyway, but he played more in that Miami game, so maybe he's starting to come around. So I think the secondary, when you look ahead, you're probably only going to lose the one guy, but it's a big one.
Yeah.
What?
Akeem, though, maybe Akeem wants to go. But again, I don't know.
Man, he can't. He can't. Where would he go? He's a safety that doesn't make plays. He's a safety that gets Shaheem Brown plays for him a good bit now. He's not going anywhere. Renardo Green has had a really nice year. I just don't know if he's an NFL prospect, but it's good to have that coming back too. You do have some dudes coming back, and Azaria is the guy that maybe takes the biggest step, but maybe it's Shaheem Brown too. You just can't put into words what these kind of experiences mean to, not just playing Julian Armella. That's awesome. He got to play 11 plays against Miami in a game that was already over. It's cool to get on the field and get those experiences. But what Shaheem Brown is going through, that's really big, man. To get real reps in games that matter, that's big for next year.
Yeah, back to how it used to be. Remember, what was somebody asking us about? Will they ever get back to – somebody asked us a question on Renegade Express about, will we start – having that kind of competitive depth where you have a second string guy really pushing and getting quality reps, and we're like, just the dynasty's not, this ain't whatever. I don't know who's NC State's quarterback in 1994. It's not that Wolfpack team any longer. And parity all across college football. You don't get a lot of those in conference 5-6 possession blowout games where you can start rolling guys out, but you do apparently when you play one of your arch rivals. So it's great to be able to take advantage of that. So What a world we live in. What an absolute world we live in. All right, I think we're going to do Renegade Express tomorrow, everybody, and then we'll do a live show Thursday. What do you think about that, Corey? You want to shake hands over the internet on that?
Let's do that. Yeah, let's plan on that. So that'll be, 6 o'clock on Thursday, we're thinking?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Good. Brady's got a tutoring. Brad, tune out for this. Brady's got a tutoring session from 4 to 5, trying to get that geometry grade up.
Oh.
The grades are slowly rising. He's got a chance at all A's and B's. The geometry's going to be tough. But we're hoping to get that up there, and then he can have all A's and B's, and that's not a horrible first semester. For a kid with his IQ, it's not anything to do cartwheels over, but considering where he was 6 weeks ago, we're encouraged by the progress he's making.
So it's Brady's freshman year is kind of 2021 Florida State football, out the gates, not strong, but closing.
Oh yeah, but let's call the 30 he got on the geometry test his Jacksonville State. Just a nightmare and inexplicable, having to tell his parents seeing that he got a 30 on an actual test, an actual 3-0. So anyway, but so he's now he's had a North Carolina game. Okay. We need the 4th and 14 coming up though. Okay. That's what we need next for him to really make this last month a success.
Awesome, absolutely. All right, we'll be back out of practice later this morning. Stay connected to warchant.com. We'll have updates, practice footage, all the interviews with the players and Mike Norvell afterwards. And the Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock as well, the Wet Your Whistle. And then we'll have, again, a podcast. We'll do a live show Thursday. and everything else you want recruiting-wise over at warchant.com. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.